Most of us assume that we have a pretty good bead on things, that we are informed on the world around us and how we all got here, and that we have all the information we need to live our lives. But what if we are wrong? What if there is a world of secrets and stranger than fiction truths out there that we are unaware of and that we are secretly longing to know? Things that once you hear them, you will have to say, "I did not know that." For those of you that are under the age of 25, the fax machine is ancient technology. We have moved so far past the beeping and screeching of this clunky old piece of tech, and we all know that Xerox patented the first recognizable version of a telephone fax in the 60s, right? However, did you know that the fax machine was the grandfather of digital communication? And that it predates the telephone as a form of communication? And that the first fax was sent 182 years ago? Let's set the Wayback Machine for 1843, a time before the first practical car was invented by Mercedes, a time before airplanes, when horses and trains were the way we cruised around, when steam was our best source of fuel, when hot air balloons and zeppelins were the future of air travel. The fax machine actually predates the use of gas and the American Civil War. The time was 1843. The place was Scotland, where all great inventors come from. And the name was Alexander Bain. Alexander Bain was an inventor, and he was fresh off a Victorian story of intrigue and deception fitting for a Hallmark Channel movie. The fax was not his first invention that you should know about. He had invented the first electric clock, and needing money, he showed it to an investor, one Sir Charles Wheatstone, who told him that it was useless and not to bother wasting his time on it. Then, not knowing that Bain had already applied for the patent, Wheatstone showed off the clock as if it was his own. A battle ensued, Wheatstone lost, and the clock would be credited to Alexander Bain. And then he was on the move to his next invention, the first ever fax machine, using telegraph lines to send a crude form of images and texts. His work would be improved on in 1861 by the Italian physicist Giovanni Caselli, and Caselli would get the credit for the first commercially viable fax service. But Alexander Bain was the first person to invent and use a fax machine 182 years ago. He would go on to invent and patent the chemical telegraph, and it would be used to send messages that were 10 times faster than the telegraph machine invented by Samuel Morse, of the Morse code fame. However, again, Victorian intrigue would follow when Bain's old nemesis, Wheatstone, would use Bain's chemical method on his own device that he cleverly called an automatic sender. And later still, Samuel Morse sought an injunction on Bain's superior device, claiming that because it used his wires and alphabetic code, it really fell under Morse's patent. Deeper pockets prevailed, and Bain's chemical telegraph was reduced to one line and soon fell away under the pressures of the wealthy name-brand inventors of the age. Bain would go on to make a good sum of money off of his inventions, but end up losing most of them on bad investments. However, he is remembered fondly in Scotland and has a building named after him in Glasgow. His clocks and earlier mechanisms are in the German Clock Museum. And in 2016, he was posthumously awarded the Technology and Engineering Emmy Award for his pioneering work in the transmission of images. And if you did not know this, it's because of one of the oldest sayings, which is, "History is written by the victors." So, now you know that.